residential dwelling units in apartments and townhouses, 85,000 to 180,000 square feet of mixed commercial development, recreation area, and associated parking. The property is located in the MHC McDonald Heights Center and is IH heavy industry districts. 928, 932, 935, and 936 Dutchess Turnpike, and Victory Lane, zoned MHC McDonald Heights Center, and IH Heavy Industry, 60.87 acres. It's a Type 1 action. Meadowview Properties, LLC, Kirchhoff Properties, LLC, and Industrial Retro, LLC owners. Is the applicant here? Rich? Okay. On the dais this evening, we have our town attorney. We have 7 regular board members. We have an alternate who's sitting in, since the board will not be commenting back, or there won't be any votes taken in respect to the project this evening. And we have one of our consultants here, Valerie Monstrata. Did I say that right? Monastra. Valerie Monastra, right here. And our town engineer, Don Beer. Carol, our secretary. Neil is the town planner, and other things. And par excellence. At any rate, I'm going to turn it over to Neil, and he'll explain a little bit about some of the ground rules and what we're going to do. And with that,
very good. This is the kind of the public kickoff to this process, and the board is here tonight to hear public comment on the scoping document that was adopted, preliminary scoping document that was adopted by the board on August 16th. It was put up on the town website and was made publicly available literally the next day. So it's been some weeks that this document was available. Unless the board determines otherwise, the public hearing would be closed tonight, but this would not be the public's last opportunity to comment on the scope. The board will receive written comment up to the close of business on September 30th, which is a week from tomorrow. I think what's important to understand about this process for those who are not familiar with the scoping, comment on the scoping document. The scoping document at its heart is basically the table of contents of the items to be addressed in the draft environmental impact statement. It is not the draft environmental impact statement itself. It basically outlines all of the issues that will be examined and discussed in the draft EIS: water, sewer, traffic, visual impacts, flora, fauna, cultural resources, both historic, prehistoric, will also be examined. So what we're looking for tonight are specific comments, suggestions, recommendations from the public as to items to be included or modified from the original draft that the board accepted in mid-August. And like I said, this is not your only opportunity to comment on that. We will accept written comments up till Friday of next week. Going forward, there will be a public hearing on the draft environmental impact statement when it has been accepted as complete by the planning board. I don't know what that date is. That is to be determined at a future point in time. The document is, some parts of the document are already being worked on, particularly some of the traffic counts and things like that have already been gathered. The analysis is yet to be completed, giving you sort of a for instance. So none of the information that goes into the DEIS is available as yet, nor will the specifics of the project be discussed by the board tonight. The board is here to listen to public comments about the scope itself. At such time as the draft EIS has been accepted by the board as complete, we will notice a public hearing, and we will make the document along with the site plan, the underlying site plan for the project, available for public review well in advance of the public hearing date for the draft EIS. And again, I don't have a date for you. I don't know if it's going to be December or January, but it's some weeks out. So that is kind of the overall process. Again, we're here to listen to comments. The board will not be responding to specific questions about the project. If you have questions about procedure, I'm more than happy to address those. But again, we're looking for specific comments as opposed to generalized comments on the scope or on the project. Again, this is the board's request for the public's input and assistance in making this as a well-defined draft environmental impact statement as we possibly can. So I'm going to turn this over to Rich Rang of Kirchhoff Companies to give an overview of the project. That's the subject of the scoping document. And then when Rich has done that, I'll turn it over to my colleague Valerie Manastra, sorry, for see what you did? I know, right? Who will give an overview of the contents of the draft scope that was adopted by the board last month. So I'll turn it over to Rich right now.
Thank you very much. I do have a brief presentation that the Planning Board has seen. Perhaps many members of the public have not yet seen that. We'll find out if we're going to get this up there. Okay, it looks like it's up. Will it stay? All right, the McDonald Heights Town Center project is located in the McDonald Heights Town Center, which was created, the zone was created following the adoption of the town's plan in 2007. I'm not quite sure what's going on here, why it keeps flashing on and off. So in 2007, the town completed a new Poughkeepsie Town Plan and adopted McDonald Heights Town Center zone, and the zone spans both sides of Route 44. Okay, it's on, it's off. This is generally where it's located. This isn't working very well. It's more specifically located along Route 44. It's in tight. Although I just lost the screen completely now. Oh, there it is back. I'm not with IT. We lost the screen again.
It's not going to help.
Go ahead. Thank you. Appreciate it. Ed. Well, that almost be done by now. Well, we have the two boards located over here. We'll get to that in a moment. The center itself, the McDonald Heights Town Center zoning district, spans both sides of Route 44 and is generally the Frank Farm property, and is located between Darrow and Victory Lane, as you can see on the map that's up above us. That was the actual boundary of the zoning district. The project actually encompasses all but about 5 parcels within the district. Oh, we got the other one coming in now. Do it the old-fashioned way. I can do that. All right. I think we're okay right now. I think we're okay. Do I need a microphone? Yes.
Might want to turn that off too.
It's up. It's gone again. Okay. Hello? Is this on? It is on. Very good. Oh, thank you very much. As I was indicating, the zoning boundary itself encompasses both sides of Route 44, just beyond the Poughkeepsie Business Park, the former Alpha Laval site, and between Darrow and Victory Boulevard, and between Concord Village Drive, which is the road to the nursing home, and Barnes Drive. The properties that are part of the application include all except the 2 homes in the center here, which is the Frank and Ortega property, parcel here, and then these 2 parcels here. The balance of the property is part of the application, as well as a parcel here, which is in the industrial zone. That's intended to be a parking lot for public access to the parklands in the rear. The intent is to develop both sides of the road to create basically a town center. In 2007, when the town adopted the local law, their intent was to create a mixed-use community to promote development of both commercial and residential in the same use or service that may be in the community, as opposed to the strip malls where you're getting in your car to go to the next strip mall or the next beyond. This particular plan is showing a roundabout. We're going to have a controlled intersection on Route 44. We're proposing a roundabout on Route 44 at the entrance to help to define the town center and to control traffic a little bit better, slow traffic down. Off of that roundabout will be two entrances that will, the best way to describe is to try and create a Main Street sort of feel, wide sidewalks that may accommodate some on-street dining, pedestrian shop-oriented small storefronts along that area. This building right here is bookmarked at the moment, was intended to be a medical office building. We're still working towards bringing that in. We have the option of a daycare that wants to be on the site. There's a spa salon operator that wants to be on the site. We're talking to some gyms that are interested in being on site as well. In addition to the commercial component, we also have a broad array of residential. This particular plan is showing the predominance of the residential in one location here. We're looking at somewhere between 288 and 350 residential units. In addition to these residential units, we are showing some townhomes along here to provide a buffer between the Darrow residents and the commercial component of the project. And in addition, there'll be some residential component above some of the street level commercial that we're proposing, which we feel is good. It keeps eyes on the street 24/7 throughout that shop area, and we're trying to really vitalize the area. The balance of the property, we're not intending to disturb. It's the wooded section through the back out to the Wappinger Creek. The intent is to preserve this as open space. We're talking to the town about making it public access open space, which is why we're talking about a public parking lot here to provide access to it to get to the creek. This particular plan shows a possibility of a sports field constructed here as well as a recreational pavilion. Walking trails throughout the creek, throughout this low area here, and then up into the woodland above is also being considered. Don't know that you need any more of a presentation for this. If anybody, the board, okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Rich. Just going to turn it over to Valerie.
Right. Good evening. My name is Valerie Manastra from VHB. As Neil discussed, scoping is the process through which issues to be addressed in the draft environmental impact statement are identified. And the product of that process is the scoping document. Before this board tonight is a draft scope dated August 16th, 2016. The draft scope proposes to cover the following topic areas: land use, zoning, and public policy, which will include the Town of Poughkeepsie Master Plan, as well as the significant habitats in the Town of Poughkeepsie, and well as the Greenway Connections, Greenway Compact Program, and Guide for Dutchess County Communities. It will also look at the community character, visual impacts from public viewpoints such as roadways and intersections. It will look at the soils, topography, and steep slopes of the site. It will look at surface water resources, which includes your wetlands and your streams that might be on the site. It will look at stormwater management, water usage, including the capacity analysis of the town-wide water district. It will look at sanitary sewer usage, including capacity analysis of the Poughkeepsie Corporate Center wastewater treatment plant. It will also look at solid waste, vegetation and wildlife, traffic, transportation, pedestrians, and transit, which will include traffic impact studies. And the draft scope currently identifies the following intersections to be studied: Route 44 and Hornbeck Road, Route 44 and Colonial Knolls, Route 44 and Barnes Drive and Victory Lane, Route 44 and DeGarmo Road, and Route 44 and Overrocker Road. The draft scope also includes community services, looking at the demographics, police, fire, emergency services, recreation and open space, and schools. It will look at the fiscal impacts, which includes the proposed taxes as a result of the project, historic, archaeological, and cultural resources that might be on the site, hazardous materials, noise, air, and construction impacts. Each of these topics will first be analyzed by identifying the existing conditions that exist on site prior to any potential construction. Then we will analyze the potential changes to the existing conditions as a result of the proposed project. If mitigation measures are necessary to alleviate an impact that gets identified during the draft environmental impact statement process, we will also identify the types of mitigation measures that need to be undertaken as a result of the proposed construction. And finally, the DEAS will look at the alternatives to what is being proposed. The current alternatives being proposed in the draft scope are no action, which means nothing changes on the site remains as is. This particular alternative is required as part of any environmental impact statement process. The second one is an alternative plan on any identified significant impacts. This means if a significant impact is identified during the draft environmental impact statement process, and we identify we identify an impact that we're not able to mitigate it as part of the proposed site plan, and that site plan has to change, then we will look at the new site plan that would be a result of that particular impact and analyze those, and analyze the same topic areas for that particular new site plan.
Thank you.
With that, Mr. Chairman, turn it back over to you.
Okay.
I move that the planning, excuse me. I move that the planning board open the public scoping session to receive public comment on the draft scoping document dated August 16, 2016 for a draft environmental impact statement, DEIS, matter of McDonald Heights Town Center project.
It's been moved and seconded that the planning board open the public scoping session to receive public comment on the draft scoping document dated August 16, 2016 for a draft environmental impact statement, DEIS, in the matter of McDonald Heights Town Center project. I call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Okay, we have some people that have signed up to speak. I'll call them in order. In the sign-up sheet, there will be a 5-minute time limit on your comments. Chuck Argo?
Yep, close enough.
Agro? How do you say it?
Agro.
Agro, okay. Chuck Agro.
No, agro. Agro.
Agro. Okay.
Sicilian. Am I speaking in one of these things?
As long as one of them's on.
This one?
Yeah,
Okay.
that's good.
I'm not really sure of your agenda. I know I have a statement. Most of it I've already discussed with Kirchhoff in a visit. I'm Chuck Agro. It's my wife Christine. The proposed development, can you hear me?
Yes.
Proposed development of the property known as the Frank Brothers Farms adjacent to the full length of my property, our property, 925 Dutchess Turnpike, and the adjacent development is directly across the road. My understanding, and it was confirmed today, is that several hundred mid-income rental apartments and townhomes have been proposed for the 20.11 acre 2 parcels adjacent to the property, and several business structures in a recreation area or pool area are also included in the same 20-plus acres. Across the street on the 2 parcels are apartments and several businesses and a park that have been planned. This totals to about 60.87 acres to be developed. And we have strong objections to the proposal, the way it's planned, not to developing it, but to the scale of the development. Personally, we're concerned about water runoff during construction. We're at the bottom of the hill, and any construction at the top of the hill, not even construction, anything that happens at the top of the hill that disturbs the ground has caused mud and water runoff down the hill to 44 through our property. The water table's high in that area. Septic systems and wells currently flood just from regular water runoff and have been washed out by previous construction projects much smaller than this. Our home and our neighbor's home, McCaffrey's, who live next door, experience severe water runoff from the farm area every spring and from the back of my property. My property, some of you have been out to the house at 925. I have the property that goes the entire length to the back of the water tower. So I'm all the way up Barnes Road. I start on 44, we go all the way back. So there's nothing between me and the top of the hill. There's nothing between the McCaffreys and the top of the hill. So water comes directly into our property. So we've gone to great expense and personally invested in our property to divert and prevent current runoff from damaging the foundation of our house. We're not convinced that the measures that have been discussed so far in our meeting with Kirchhoff prevent water and mud runoff or ground vibration from damaging our property or diminishing our lives on a daily basis. We're also concerned that a lengthened and protracted construction schedule will create a diminished, unpleasant, loud, and unhealthy living environment during and after construction, negatively affecting our quality of life with no obvious benefit to us. It's my understanding this project has arisen out of the town's 2007 plan to create town centers. It's disappointing that in this planning, the town is taking into consideration the needs and entertainment of people who do not live there yet, and seem to be ignoring those of us who've been there our entire lives, some of us, or who have been a consistent part of the community. The project itself has no benefits for the current residents, specific benefits, no sewer lines, no gas hookups, and most incredibly, it's presented as a walk-to center, but the sidewalks are only presented or available, planned for the residents of the center, which means anyone deciding really from the community to walk to this walk-in center is going to have to walk directly on 44 or cross the grass in front of our properties. There's already a problem with trash and noise from an already busy 44, and the increase in noise, trash, vandalism, crime, and property damage will be exponential to the increase in population, car, and foot traffic. This plan will change what has been a small and peaceful neighborhood into a population-dense commercial hub. Our home, and with that said, driving from my house to here, what is that? It's about maybe a mile down 44, directly down 44. I counted 14 shuttered businesses, restaurants and stores. So the need for restaurants, coffee shops, gyms, especially in a condensed area, is debatable. There's a lot of empty properties within proximity to us that could be populated. I don't necessarily know the reason, but it's there. I'm as concerned about the construction as I am about living across the street from a bunch of empty storefronts. The plan changes a small and peaceful neighborhood into a population-dense commercial hub. Our home is historic designation. It's pictures back there on your wall. I think it's on the windowsill now. It was on the wall the last time I guess we were voted. At this meeting room, and many of you have been to the house. This project changes and diminishes our home in the immediate area and adds nothing to the quality of life for the current residents. On a larger scale, the proposal adds about 22% of Arlington's 2013 population on a plot of land that is less than 1/20th of all of Arlington. That's 22% of Arlington's 2013 population in 4 plots of land. Route 44 is a 2-lane highway, and it already strains to hold the current population's traffic with accidents and traffic jams as a regular occurrence. This proposal would add an additional 30% of traffic to the current volume based on additional population alone. And that's not assuming the business traffic, assuming the businesses that are proposed service at a minimum of 100 people per day. I would assume more, because if not, they're also going to be shuttered. But we'll say 100 people a day. That adds an additional 300 to 500 automobiles a day passing in front of my home just from the businesses on this narrow 2-lane highway. So in total, the additional residences and businesses would increase traffic on 44 and that small strip between these 2 circles that are being built by 1,000 additional vehicles a day if everything goes as planned. The area is not set up for this density of population or this increase in traffic. We find the proposal to be irresponsible as well as dangerous. All statistics for crime, pollution, including light, air, and noise pollution, and accidents, both automobile, pedestrian, and roadkill, will increase exponentially by the addition of 22% of our population on 4 plots of land that would normally house 8 to 10 people in 4 houses. It's not the development, again, of the area that we take issue with, but the scale of the development and the lack of consideration for the actual needs of the people who are living there as opposed to people who are moving into the neighborhood. That's it, guys.
Thank you. Can we have a copy of that, please?
I will send you I kind of scribbled and added
Okay,
to it, so I'll
okay.
type
If you
it
would
up and I'll
submit-
make sure I mail it to you.
Please.
Who would you like it to go to?
Who would you like it to go to?
Actually, you could deliver it to Carol Barone in the planning department.
You can come up to the planning department downstairs.
Will do. I got it.
Carol will be there. She could take it.
Great, thank you.
Just mention that you sent-
Peter Dennison?
That's me. Hey, Neil.
Peter, how are you?
We had a good talk on the phone. This is the first time I've actually been to the planning board.
Okay, please speak into the microphone. Have a seat, relax.
They always say you think better when you're standing, so
Oh, you can take that mic, you can take that mic there if you like and stand.
I'll sit down,
Oh, you can- Okay, your choice.
if you can hear me okay.
We can.
So this is the first time I've been to the planning board. I've been to the town board a couple of times. Just to give you a little bit of background, I was born and raised in this area. I'm 61 years old. I was raised in Town LaGrange, just outside of Red Oaks Mill. So Red Oaks Mill was sort of like my haunt. That's where I hung out a lot. So I've seen a lot of changes in the area. You know, there have been a lot of things that have been going on. Route 9 obviously is a lot more popular than it's ever been before. Very, very busy. When you look at Route 44, the one thing that really kind of concerns me is that in the morning, the traffic is really, really bad. You all know that. Everybody sees that. It backs up. There's a light right at Adams. Everybody remembers when that light wasn't at Adams, how you could just travel down Brickyard Hill, no problem. Everybody knows that you've got tremendous blight right now where Kmart is. Has anybody thought about the idea, and I know we're talking about, urban sprawl here. The whole idea of this town center is to prevent urban sprawl, right? What's going to happen to that center? It's going to be hard to sell if you're going to go ahead and put this unit in an area that used to be the Frank Farm, and you're going to draw business away from Brickyard Hill, from down that hill. It's harder and harder to get down there as it is. If you put this here, and then you put in a rotary on a state road, I think it's ill-advised. I really do. I think it's going to be a mess. The first thing is, I know that we need apartments. People need a place to live. One of the things, my mother is 88. She just moved up to Raleigh. And Raleigh has a tremendous choice of apartment buildings. Okay, we don't really have that here. Okay, this whole place has been built on IBM. Everybody living in a single-family home. And we know that there's a lot of foreclosures in the pipeline still in this area. People still need a place to live. So I'm not going to sit here and say to you, well, this is a bad idea all the way around. Joe Kirchhoff, he did the Meadowview apartments. They look great, fantastic, kind of expensive. I don't know what you're going to do in terms of addressing the cost of these apartments in this area. I don't really know that. I think that's one of the things you might want to consider if you're going to go ahead and put that density in there. The second thing is, I lived right across from the Frank Brothers farm. I spent over 11 years there.
Now, you got to take the microphone with you now.
Okay, I'm sorry. So I know what the traffic is there. Let's see if we can turn this on. Can you hear me?
Takes a minute.
No? How's that? Okay. For the benefit of everybody here, whoa, let's see if we can make this work. There we go. Can everybody see this okay?
Yeah.
So I lived right across from
You got to get on the mic.
I lived right across from Babe here, right there, and we rented from the Haverkamps. And what's interesting is that the house that I lived in was actually rented to my mother-in-law and my father-in-law by the Franks. So there's a lot of history going back here. One of the things that bothers me is we have yet another family farm in Dutchess County going by the wayside for development. But that's neither here nor there. This is Route 44, folks. This is a state road going in, feeding in to the town of Poughkeepsie. It's also feeding into people who have to commute. I don't really see how the town center concept works well when you've got a major state road intersecting it, bisecting it. If you want to do this right, put everything on one side. I don't really see how this is going to make a lot of sense. You've got a lot of people coming down Route 44 in the morning. It's quite a backup right now. It's a tremendous backup. Again, I don't see the idea. The commercial buildings make no sense at all. We all know that the town of Poughkeepsie is filled with commercial buildings that are empty. I don't see this as being very smart. I understand the concept, but you're talking about a concept that was created in 2007. You guys did this in 2007. Beautiful master plan, okay? Beautiful scoping document. Fantastic. I really don't have any problem with it. What I have a problem with is that when you take a look at the original master plan, it says on page 41, the town should prevent the further commercialization of routes 44, Salt Point Turnpike, Van Wagner Road, Vassar Road, Spackenkill Road, and other primarily residential roadways outside of designated centers to maintain efficient traffic flow. This is going to be a traffic disaster. I propose, since we do have a need for apartments, that we take this same development and bring it down to where Kmart is and develop that. Instead of creating more asphalt, let's take what we have and make it better. You know, there are developers across the country who take these blighted areas, whether they're home areas or they're they're commercial areas, and they revamp them and make them look absolutely beautiful. The thing that I'm really concerned about is that even though this looks conceptually very, very nice, it really affects the quality of life for everybody around it. And again, I can't say to you that we don't need apartments. We do. But I really have a hard time understanding why this town center concept works on this location. In fact, I still don't even understand why McDonald's Heights Center was actually identified when it was still owned by the Frank family. How was that? I know you can't answer me, but I don't really understand how that actually turned into a town center when it was already owned by somebody else. How was that identified? So obviously, 2007, everybody had a different idea of what was going on. This place was very, very busy. People were trying to find a house to live in. I moved into Hornbeck Road from that house on 932, the top of the hill. I'm in the Fitchett's old house, which also was a farm, okay? Somebody's bought that behind me, and I know there's some wetlands there, so I don't know if it'll be developed anytime soon, but I know that was also designed for some, like the town center concept and some cluster housing, but it didn't happen, thanks to the town plan, thanks to the master plan that came out in 2007, because your density changed. Thank you. I appreciate that, because that's where I live. So I fear that you're going to have a lot of traffic on Route 44. I also fear that people are going to take Hornbeck Road to shortcut over to Van Wagner so they can get down to Poughkeepsie. So I guess what I'm saying is, I see you're already on the fast track. I watched your video on August 16th. You guys all seem to be on board with this. I just want to, excuse me, I don't mean guys entirely. But what I'm saying is that I know that you want to do this. I know you want to put it on the fast track, but I want you to do it right. I want you to think in terms of what is correct for the residents. Route 44 is a state road. People are trying to get into the town. You put that there, it creates more of a draw. It's a magnet that's going to be drawn to that area away from the side that's closer to Poughkeepsie, to the city. So, as I say, I've been here all my life. I've seen a lot of changes. I love living in the town of Poughkeepsie. The quality of life is great, but I really do fear it's going to change once this goes in. And someone really, I know you can't answer me, but someone has to tell me the reason, first of all, why it's happening, and why it's on such a fast track. I don't really, what is the need now? 2007 was 9 years ago. The paradigm's changed big time. The paradigm has changed big time since 2007. The town center concept is great, but, you have to think in terms of what you're really trying to achieve. Because these commercial buildings, I don't know, what does that do? Does that help the quality of life for everybody who's living here? I spoke to the administrator of the nursing home, and he said he liked the idea of being able to walk to a store. Where's the store? It's across the street. So where's it going to go? I see a commercial building here. Okay, that's good. But, again, I said to him, you're in a retirement home. Do you really care about all this development going on in front of you? And he said that Joe talked to him, and, that's something that he feels better about now. So I have no problem with Joe Kirchhoff. I have no problem with what you guys are doing. I just want you to think in terms of what the impact is going to be by putting this roundabout in here, another light. I already said to Joe Conti, if you do anything, please have it run out on this side. If you're gonna do anything, have it come out on this side and have it come right out the same road where De La Valle is, instead of slowing this down. You don't want to slow 44 down just for this. Does that make sense? So I'm looking forward to talking more to you about it, and thanks for the time.
Thank you. We look forward to your coming back in the future public hearings.
Thank you.
Jeanette Lum.
All right, so I'm going to take kind of a different approach to everything that's been talked about so far. Personally, when I first saw the plans that there was talk of possibly removing the barns and the farm, you know, I was devastated. I think it's going to be a huge loss to the town of Poughkeepsie. Sorry, is that better? Sorry, nervous. I think it's going to be a great loss to town of Poughkeepsie, just to its historic importance alone. According to an article dated April 2nd, 1989, from the Poughkeepsie Journal, Frank Brothers Farm was the last dairy farm in the town of Poughkeepsie. And that alone should show enough significance of its importance. I know Poughkeepsie is better known for IBM and that kind of industry, but farming played a huge part in this town's history. It was also purchased by immigrant brothers in 1929, which shows how Poughkeepsie was a melting pot. Think about how we still have many cultural clubs today to reflect that, like Germania Poughkeepsie, which has been around since 1850. Those immigrants came over from Europe striving for the American dream, and they succeeded. The hope and the promise that Poughkeepsie brought people should not be forgotten. It may be argued that the Frank brothers had not purchased the farm long enough ago, but they bought it from the Barnes estate, who had it in their family for 102 years. Again, I can only imagine that that was a huge part of Poughkeepsie's history. And looking at most of you, I think Frank Brothers Farm has been there the whole time everybody has been alive. And the barns itself, if you look at the architecture, you don't have buildings built like that anymore. They're beautiful and magnificent inside. When you think about driving on 44, you also think of landmarks such as Adams Barracker Farm, the old De La Valle, and Frank Brothers Farm. It's such an icon that it would surely be missed, not just by the residents and the out-of-towners who just happen to be driving by, but for the people in the Lutheran Care Center. This past spring, I was up there visiting a rehab patient, and their physical therapy room overlooks the fields and the barns. It's a calm and peaceful escape, which is something those patients need while they are there. In addition, it gives them joy of remembrance of what life was like back in the day. It already is a crime that children, especially ones growing up in the cities like New York City, never experience what it is like to even see a farm. With all of the empty plazas and open land, I think it'd be a shame to lose an icon or even possibly a learning tool to remember Poughkeepsie's history. I do realize that it is his livelihood and that is why he wants to develop the property, but I think there's enough empty areas that they can develop them first. I mean, when we talk about how they pointed out that there's a commercial building that they don't have anybody in yet. It's possibly a medical building, possibly not. Think about across the Eveready Diner in Hyde Park. That was supposed to be a medical building. I think that's been sitting there at least probably close to 10 years, just an empty lot saying it's going to be a medical building, but nothing has ever happened. So I think it would just be a shame to see a part of our history gone, because it is an icon. Think about it. You drive up 44, you see it, you know it, and it's a part of our history, and I think it would be a shame to see it go.
Thank you.
He was reading from something, so we can get a...
Can you submit, do you have your remarks in writing? Or are they just your notes?
Yes, I can email it or...
Sure, if you would.
Yeah, or you could even just photocopy. I mean, I don't know how your handwriting is, but...
Or take a picture and send it, however you do it.
Yeah, if you could forward to us, that'd be great.
Okay, thank you.
Breck Martin? Did I get that right?
Pardon?
Did I get that right?
You got it right.
Oh, finally.
Breck Martin, 15 Darrell Place, Poughkeepsie, 38-year resident of Darrell Place. And first of all, I want to thank the board. I've taken the opportunity to go through this drafting scope thoroughly. You've addressed 99.9% of the concerns of most of the residents of the area who have been there a number of years like myself. So I'm anxious to see this draft and the EIS that's going to come from it. I did want to point out one thing that I think needs a little bit of further clarification, and that would be on page 5. It would be number 8, and it talks about rather discussion of project background and project site history, including previously submitted applications for the project site and adjacent sites controlled by the project sponsor to the extent that the information is relevant to this application. To me, that's kind of a subjective thing, and relevant to whom. So that's my question. I think, because I've lived here as many years as I had, and I've seen a number of different contractors come to want to develop that property, and it has not come to fruition for any number of reasons, which I don't need to go into now. I think it is relevant that part of this study includes what has happened in the past with this particular project site and why the town turned down, or in some cases, it was not economically feasible for the projects to go forward, because there's no sense in repeating history if we don't have to, and if we don't have a good historical background as to what's happened in the past, it concerns me about what may happen in the future. Otherwise, I want to thank the board again for the breadth of this document that they're requesting and all of the issues that you've addressed as far as what's going to be included in this environmental impact statement. Thank you.
Thank you. Joe Lentz?
Joe Lentz, 29 Darrell Place, for 35 years, I believe. This is for the environmental impact. I believe residents are part of the environment, and I think you should add the psychological effect to the residents. I'm not being facetious, because as a gentleman before me said, it's the scope that really bothers me, being a local resident. 3-story buildings. I'm trying to think of a 3-story building between Adams and Pleasant Valley, and I can't. Adams, no. The Firehouse, no. Z's Deli, no. Friendly Honda, no. Alpha Laval, no. I can't think of any 3-story. Maybe Wilsey's Farmhouse. I'm not sure, but how would that? How would It almost seems like the city of Oz rising up out of Frank Brothers Farm, being 3 stories. How's that going to affect people? Also, one more point I'd like to see added to the environmental impact is a traffic study done on McDonald Heights and 44. Colonial Knolls was mentioned. I believe McDonald Heights has just about as many residents living up there, coming out onto Route 44. I like your concept of the town centers. I like the work that Mr. Kirchhoff does, but like the gentleman before us said, I'd rather see him renovate some of the empty buildings that we have that are existing now, instead of building something that may become used, may not. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Linda Lentz?
Hi, I'm the other half of Joe Lentz. Also live at 29 Darrell Place for 35 years. My concerns are the traffic. You're going to study certain areas, I understand, but anybody coming Poughkeepsie from Amenia, from Millbrook, from Pleasant Valley, they come this way, they will be finding alternate routes to get into Poughkeepsie. I think we need to study Van Wagner Road, because as it is already, when I can't turn left out of my road, I turn right, I go Hornbeck, I go Van Wagner Road to get into Poughkeepsie. Anybody from Pleasant Valley is going to be going West Road to Saw Point to get into Poughkeepsie. So those roads, I think, also need to be included in your traffic studies, because they will be greatly impacted, because people will be looking for alternate ways to get in, because this is going to be a mess. There's no doubt about it. And I just want to make a little comment that we've lived there for 35 years. We did not have any idea that it was rezoned. When it got done, we were nobody was informed. None of our neighbors, none of us knew that it was being rezoned for commercial. And I also find it is very convenient that in the past month or two, all of our houses on Darrell Place now have been reassessed, and they are all lost value. They've all lost value before this has even started. I don't know if it's because of the proposal, but it just doesn't seem right that all of our homes are now have lost value before we even get started with this project. I'm sure they'll lose more value as it goes along, but thank you for your time.
Thank you. Interesting. Robin, and I can't read your last name, I'm sorry. Atkins?
Ackers, A-C-K-E-R-S.
Okay, thank you.
Can you hear me? Yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'm a recent immigrant to Poughkeepsie. I lived on Barnes Drive for 10 years. It is a nice, quiet area. Most of what I would say has already been said and very eloquently. So thank you to my neighbors for that. But I just want to reiterate what's already been said, just to share the fact that there are more people here who are unhappy. You're talking about a massive amount of traffic, a massive amount of noise, pollution, smells, light pollution, noise pollution. In terms of the current plan as well, it's still not really clear how this traffic will be accommodated. 44 is already a mess with traffic. It's a mess. You add 1,000 cars per day to that. I have no clue how that's going to be accommodated except by widening the road. I am also concerned about water runoff. I'm concerned about the general scope of this project. It is huge, and we kind of enjoy the peace and quiet that we have, and I have a wonderful view. My backyard is bordered by that very long backyard, and then beyond that there's the nice fields with the beautiful old farm, and there's no benefit to us for any of this. It's all detrimental, and there's obviously no kind of compensation for us. Future hearings, maybe we can talk more about the pretty catastrophic financial implications that we're going to suffer for this. But just in terms of the environment, which is what this hearing is about, this is going to be so unpleasant for us in terms of the noise, the population, the traffic, the pollution. And I don't see why something like this should go forward when we ourselves are so against it. But again, as has been said, I think it would be fine to go ahead on a reduced scope, something that's more reasonable. Possibly explore other areas that could use rejuvenation, and if it's at all possible to try and keep the old farm, at least keep that. I think that would be such a loss to lose that. So that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all the people who have signed up. Is there anyone who'd like to speak that hasn't signed on to the? Yes, ma'am.
Yes, I would.
Okay. Your name?
My name's Joanne Fernandez. Sure the
Spell your last name, please.
Fernandez, Fernandez. I'm sure the planning guy knows me pretty well.
And your address?
974 Dutchess Turnpike.
Okay, thank you.
I'm one of the lucky ones that live right on 44. And I've been living there for about 35 years, and I've been here in front of the board many times for many projects that have been proposed. The nursing home, the other project of building homes across me from 44. I am directly across from the nursing home. And today, I sat outside at 3 o'clock in my driveway on the ground, and I videoed what goes on Route 44 from 3 o'clock on. I can't even go out to my mailbox because I'm afraid I'm going to get run over. Because if you're turning into the nursing home, taking a left, these people fly by on the shoulder to get around them. And then you have the people coming out of the nursing home because they're done with work, and they want to take a left-hand turn. I can't tell you how many accidents have happened there. My big concern is the traffic. If I know all these people know, you can't get out on 44 if you are in rush hour. You sit there for 15, 20 minutes trying to get out of your own driveway. It's crazy. And I understand we need apartments, I get it. But this is huge. This is huge. And it's going to really impact. And I am very concerned about 44. And that's all I have to say.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak? Sure, come on up. Just need your name and your address, please.
Stephanie McCaffrey, I'm 931 Dutchess Turnpike. We're actually
McCaffrey?
McCaffrey.
Okay.
We were actually rezoned commercial, my house. I'm in the town zone, and we didn't know about it. And I just have to say, it's going to be devastating to my life. I've lived in that house for 25 years. I raised 5 children in that home, and I'm going to have a 3-story commercial building adjacent to my property. I'm not zoned residential. I'm zoned commercial. I'm going to have your commercial building is going to be abutted up against my driveway. Where that little house with the driveway right on the field, that's my home. It's going to be a huge impact for everybody. Losing the farm, I mean, losing Frank Brothers Farm there, that's going to be terrible. It's just the traffic. I can't see. I sit and I watch tractor trailers coming by, hundreds of them during the week. There's those modular homes that go by. We have a lot of modular homes that go by Route 44, a lot. I can't see how one of those is going to go around a roundabout. All the traffic, where's coming from Millbrook and out that way, that's a main feeder to the upper part of Connecticut there. There's no main highway to get out there but Route 44. Having a roundabout right in my driveway essentially is going to make it difficult for me to already get out of a driveway that's difficult to get out of. You haven't addressed what you're going to do with the traffic light for Barnes Drive. What happens when that turns red and the traffic backs up into the roundabout? You know, there's a lot of issues with the traffic that's going to make it incredibly difficult for anybody living anywhere, you know, what is that, east of there? So I just would like you to look at the traffic and look at the impact to the people's lives there. Right.
Anyone else?
Can you speak one more time or not?
Sure. Yes.
I won't keep you long.
5 minutes.
The only other thing I would say is that, you know, as a planning board, obviously you guys are really interested in raising the revenue. We know the revenue's going down. You know, my house has gone down $100,000. I paid $295 for it in 2005. Zillow's telling me it's worth $195. I still pay the same taxes. I'm paying the same taxes to the town. I know you need the money, okay? I know we're trying to do projects to try to raise revenue, but please tell me, somebody's got to identify, maybe this gentleman can, what the money is that's going to come into the town as a result of it. That's what I want to know. Because apartment buildings, we know, don't bring in a lot of money. The commercial situation's really tough right now. This whole economy's hanging on by a thread. You know, we're looking at 1.8% projected right now. I work in financial services. You know, the paradigm has changed. So all I'm saying is I know you're doing the best you can. The scoping is fantastic. The master plan is fantastic, but the master plan is 9 years old. And if we're going to do something, let's use existing resources and make them better for a better quality of life. Thanks.
Thank you. Anyone else? Yes. Come on.
I'm Christine Agro, and I live at 925 Dutchess Turnpike, and I don't really like to speak in front of people. I just want to add about accidents, because we are the third driveway from the light, and there are a tremendous number of accidents in front of our house all the time. And I just want to say that. So I think, this is going to just amplify that. That's it. Thanks.
Thank you. We will get information from the police department and agencies and so on that. All of your comments will be taken into account. We will doing research on every one of them to see what answers or other concerns or what have you come forth from that. So rest assured that will happen. Is there anyone else who'd like to say anything? No? Okay.
Thanks for listening.
That's what we're here for.
Ready?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, again, the staff, unless somebody has something further to say, we're recommending close this public hearing. You have a resolution, but also acknowledges that pursuant to the August resolution that set this public hearing, we will keep additional written public comment to the close of business a week from tomorrow. It'll be September 30th, if anybody here or if you have neighbors that were unable to attend who wish to comment. And the notice includes my email address as well as the address of Town Hall where people could submit either comments either by email or hand deliver or mail them in.
Can I add one more thing quickly? Is it too late to close the door? No, all right.
We haven't closed the hearing yet.
I have to move 2 feet closer.
Close it yet.
The one thing, and because, there's so many issues that affect that community that it didn't feel relevant at the time, considering traffic and everything else, but that area from the creek through our property is the only real open area for wildlife in that area to commute. We have turtles, we have foxes, we have deer running from the creek across 44. They get hit often, but sometimes they make it. They go up my property or up the farm, they go up to the hill. It becomes the reason when we took our property, the previous owners, the Pizzutis, told us they never developed because I have 2 lots and the road, I think you know the history of our house, it's historical, it was originally owned by Dr. Barnes.
It was a schoolhouse.
It was a schoolhouse. It was the first schoolhouse. It was turned into the first schoolhouse in New York State that was turned into private residence. But that's besides the point. I'm digressing. It's a clear path. They left the back open as a wildlife refuge. They never developed it. So I have deers, I have turkey, and they're usually on the farm. They're usually on my property. They're usually over there. And the effect on nature, the effect on the animals, the effect on one of the biggest reasons we moved to the Hudson Valley is for nature, for trees, for animals, to get away from the hubbub of living in Brooklyn or New York City, will be taken away. It'll become a death trap. It'll become a killing floor for deer and raccoons and all the other things that commute back and forth across our property. I'll add that to the back page of my statement. Thank you.
Please, thank you. Okay.
I got my water back too.
Yeah, we're ready.
Sat there the whole time.
I have video, cannot.
Where would she submit the video?
So, yes, I would like to submit the video. Joanne Fernandez, 974 Dutchess
Yeah,
Turnpike.
absolutely, yeah, you could deliver it to the
How would
planning
I,
department.
how could I do
You
that?
could put it, actually, easiest, to put it on a flash drive
Okay,
and deliver it to Carol
yeah,
at
okay.
the planning department.
And I just want to say one more thing. I think that young lady over there did a fantastic job
Jeanette Lum.
presentation. Because she's talking about the farm, and I remember when my kids, I have 4 daughters that are all grown, and I remember carrying my kids over to go see the cows back, in the day when there were cows there. I understand that the farms, it's gone and everything, but yeah, it just brought back a lot of memories. She did a great presentation.
Thank you.
Before I offer a motion to close the public hearing, I would like to compliment all of you on the time and the thought and the effort you've put into your comments. They were all very relevant and so forth. And I think that's great.
Thank you.
It's nice to see everybody come together as a community, as a neighborhood, and do what you're doing. I mean, that just makes a tremendous amount of sense. We've had other situations where it wasn't quite as not palatable, if you will, So that's to your credit. Thank you.
I move that the planning board close the public scoping session on the draft scoping document dated August 16th, 2016, and accept written comments regarding issues to be addressed in the EIS for McDonald Heights Town Center project until 4 p.m. on September 30th, 2016, as addressed to the Town of Poughkeepsie Planning Department, 1 Over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, 12603. Attention, Neil Wilson, Director of Municipal Development, or via email to nwilson, NWILSON, at townofpoughkeepsie-ny.gov.
Second.
Yeah, you know what, if I could make a recommendation too, that we add Carol Barone's email to that as well, which would be C. Barone, BARONE, at townofpoughkeepsie-ny.gov.
Please add Carol's to the motion.
Yep. Okay. Do I have a second?
Again.
All right. You accept that amendment?
Yep.
Okay. It's been moved and seconded that the planning board close the public scoping session on the draft scoping document dated August 16th, 2016, and accept written comments regarding issues to be addressed in the EIS for the McDonald Heights Town Center project until 4 p.m. on September 30th, 2016, as addressed to Town of Poughkeepsie Planning Department, 1 Over Rocker Road, Poughkeepsie, New York, 12603. Attention, Neil Wilson, Director of Municipal Development, or via email to nwilson@townofpoughkeepsie-ny.gov or C. Barone, BARONE, at townofpoughkeepsie-ny.gov. And call the question. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, just sort of housekeeping. Going forward, conferring with Valerie as well as Keith Silliman, who's also with VHB, could not be here tonight, along with planning staff and our legal counsel, Craig Wallace. We have some ideas for some modifications of the scope as a result of a meeting we had with State DOT yesterday, as well as the comments that we had tonight. We'll be putting those together after the close of the comment period on the 30th. The idea being that we will provide you with a red line draft for your consideration at the October planning board meeting. So we'll get that to you in plenty of time for discussion and your consideration.
Okay, good. Sounds good. Thank you. Any other business? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
I move that we terminate the meeting.
Second.
Moved and seconded, we terminate the meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 7-0. Thank you. I'd like to thank everyone for coming out to a special meeting, our second meeting this month. The board and the staff, appreciate it.